Today, let's take a look at the GAMEMT E5ultra Android handheld console, which is about to be released. It includes a good quality storage bag, featuring the MT logo on the front. The storage bag's color perfectly matches the device, indicating the manufacturer put considerable effort into the design. I'm curious if the upcoming black and white versions will also maintain such precise color coordination. The packaging box features a magnetic design and contains the device's data cable. It also includes a complimentary tempered film, which I'll apply immediately. I am someone who is exceptionally meticulous when it comes to taking care of my digital products. Let's take a look at the overall appearance of the machine. Currently, there are 3 color versions scheduled for release: black, white, and purple-gray. The one I have in my hand is the purple-gray model. The overall color is gray, but the buttons are all made from purple molds. The grip feels excellent, allowing me to easily press all the buttons. Now let's examine the back. This part is adjustable for the fan. Additionally, there's a stand design on the bottom, quite similar to the Nintendo Switch. Since this is an Android handheld console, you can certainly use it for watching movies, essentially serving as its own built-in phone stand. Let's go ahead and power it on now. The boot-up screen features the GAMEMT logo. The display itself is a 5-inch screen boasting a 1280 by 720 resolution. Its overall color temperature leans towards the cooler spectrum, offering a peak brightness of 450 nits. Furthermore, it's a touch screen, enabling direct finger operation. The buttons are arranged in an asymmetrical configuration, and the joysticks are Hall joysticks, which also supports RGB lighting effects. The feel is just like a Joy-Con joystick, but the GAMEMT E5ultra comes equipped with Hall joysticks, so its lifespan is significantly extended, meaning you won't have to feel bad about using it too extensively. The action buttons and D-pad utilize a pot piece plus rubber pad design, with an NS-like layout, positioning the A button on the right. I personally think for handheld gaming, you don't really need to care too much about this particular layout, because the button mapping for each emulator is essentially different anyway. The functionality is not an issue. What matters most is the comfort of the buttons. For the processor, the E5ultra uses the Ziguang T620. The machine also comes with 6 plus 128 internal storage. My unit also has a memory card, which is filled with emulator games. Regarding the machine's performance, it can currently handle up to PS2, but of course it can't run all games perfectly. Normally, when we're using it to play PSP games, setting them to 2 times resolution should generally be more than sufficient. There's no need to really overwork or overly stress the machine. Now, in this episode, we'll primarily focus on the GAMEMT game front-end that's built into the E5ultra. Simply press the M button and it will automatically take you to the emulator front-end. You'll then be able to see that it has integrated what's currently available on the market. This includes basically all the runnable emulators like arcade emulators, Nintendo's GBA, NDS, SFC, and also MD, PSP, and PS2. We'll be demonstrating these a bit later, but first, let's check out this super interesting online gaming feature that I find pretty cool. When you log in with an internet connection, it currently provides 8 games available, where you can directly play against other players online. When you enter the game hall, you will immediately notice that many players are already seated, and on the right side of the screen, you'll find their levels and battle records displayed. Let's find a good location so we can fully test it out. The delay is quite acceptable, usually only a few milliseconds, so it's perfectly fine. This minimal latency ensures a smooth and responsive gaming experience. I'm going to pick the 3 most attractive men. The delay has now been significantly reduced to just 16 milliseconds, which is quite impressive for this device. Even if I'm a total novice at this, I can still come out victorious. This means that you're actually battling against real players, and I find this feature to be incredibly engaging and enjoyable, especially since it's a direct player versus player interaction, rather than just against the computer's AI. That's a point I consider genuinely quite interesting. I can win, even though I'm not that good at it, so I personally really like this feature. feature. I later asked the manufacturer, and they told me they would acquire more game licenses. It would be amazing if they updated it with classic titles like Knights of Valor or Journey to the West, making it much more enjoyable. When we were kids, we could never gather enough people to play together, and as for cloud gaming, everyone is already quite familiar with that concept. It streams the visual content using your internet speed, making it suitable for gamers who may not have high-end configurations but still want to play demanding AAA games. There's a very large selection of games available within this system. The initial charge is 9.9 for 10 hours of gameplay. Everyone can choose to top up their balance based on their individual needs, or for those who simply wish to experience it, I won't delve into further details regarding that here. Now then, let's proceed to evaluate the performance of the emulator. This game is called Knights of Valor. It is a really great and classic game. For an Android handheld console, playing this type of game is exceptionally easy and quite effortless, almost like a piece of cake. It's essentially impossible for this device to experience any sort of stuttering or lag during gameplay. This game is from the MD platform and the loading speed is incredibly fast, really quick. The performance is truly impressive and you won't experience any delays whatsoever, making the gameplay exceptionally smooth and responsive. Let's try playing God of War on the PSP, or the PlayStation Portable, since that's what it stands for. I've set the resolution to 2 times the original, so it should look pretty good. As you can see, it's very smooth. It basically sustains a stable 60 frames per second performance, ensuring a smooth and consistent experience. However, when it comes to the cutscenes, you might notice the audio experiencing a slight lag. During intense combat sequences or action-packed scenes, you absolutely won't experience any noticeable frame rate drops or other performance issues that could hinder your gameplay. There are virtually no instances of frame drops. I haven't had a chance to download any PS2 games yet, so I won't be demonstrating that today. Overall, this front end appears quite appealing, with each emulator meticulously crafted. I personally find this type of interface very much to my liking. However, the ROM pack I downloaded isn't ideal. It seems to contain mostly American versions of games, lacking any Chinese localization. Consequently, the emulators and ROMs are all pre-installed on this memory card. The device itself also comes with 128 GB of built-in storage. Currently, the official announcement indicates a launch price of 399 yuan. However, this price is only for the bare machine, meaning it likely does not include the memory card or any additional gifts. Furthermore, the storage bag probably won't be included either. We'll have to wait for the official news for more precise details. Alright, that's all for today. I'll spend some more time getting familiar with the device and checking out its Android features. Then I'll release another video on it. Thank you all for watching. Bye.